Hey everybody, Brendan Coates here, the Gut Whisperer, and this video is for anyone that has been diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Maybe you just recently visited a GI specialist or your GP, and that's right, you've been diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Now what? Well, let me share with you a really cool video that I think you're gonna find very, very valuable, and I'm gonna show you, if you stick with me, a real solution that you can implement almost today to reverse and recover from Crohn's disease, because you are not destined for the rest of your life to suffer like so many do. So anatomy, really quick. Here is the anatomy of the GI tract. Obviously, lots of detail, but we're gonna focus on the small intestine and the large intestine. The small intestine, the last quadrant of the small intestine is called the ileum, and the first sort of section of the large intestine is called the cecum. That is generally where Crohn's disease can express itself, either in the small intestine or in the large intestine, or in severe cases, in both. So what we really need to understand fundamentally is, the bottom line is this: Crohn's disease, A, it's autoimmune, B, it's inflammation. So when you understand that, then we can really start to apply all of these other teachings. So let's begin. All right, let's start with a definition. Crohn's disease. Definition: inflammation of the intestines, both small and large, which lead to severe ulceration of the GI tract. Usually, like I said earlier, in the last part of the small intestine or the beginning part of the large intestine, and again, in serious cases, both. So, let me turn around over here. Development. How can Crohn's develop? Well, generally, it starts off in the late teenagehood and then leads into adulthood. Crohn's disease can lead to the further depletion of nutrients just because so many people have diarrhea and they're eliminating so much. The body really can't absorb the food and the nutrients that we need. So we also need to consider genetics. Individuals who have Crohn's disease, their weakest link in their chain of genetics is likely the GI tract, and boom, that is where the expression happens. It's not really the cause for the disease. When individuals have Crohn's disease, their body is continuously building up scar tissue in the intestine. So during a flare-up or during remission, scar tissue is always being developed. And this scar tissue can actually bury holes within the tissue of the intestine, and it can even bury little tunnels from one part of the intestine going into the next. So it can be very problematic. And the ongoing development of scar tissue and further inflammation leads to a perpetual cycle of inflammation and immune response. Inflammation and immune response. So here are many of the symptoms that are associated with Crohn's disease: severe abdominal pain, gas, bloating, loss of appetite, weight loss, nausea, mouth and anal sores, headaches, low energy, mood, depression, anxiety even, anemia, and again, nutrient loss caused by diarrhea. Now, these are a whole bunch of different symptoms that are being expressed by the underlying issue, which is, in this case, Crohn's disease. So think about it, and I really want you to think about this for a second. Let's say you go to your GP or your family practitioner or whomever, and you want treatment. You want to have symptom relief. So let's say you want to have symptom relief from the depression. Maybe they're going to prescribe you antidepressant medication. Maybe you've got low energy, or maybe you've got headaches. They're going to prescribe you maybe some anti-inflammatories or some prescription headache medication. Maybe you've got mouth sores. They're going to try to treat you with like corticosteroids or something. So if you've got bloating or gas, they might treat you with stomach acid suppressants because you've got heartburn or so forth. Right? So these are all the things to consider, because they're going to try to symptom treat you, but the underlying culprit isn't necessarily being treated unless you go to someone like me. Causes. Let's talk about causes. First and foremost, lifestyle. What's on the end of your fork is going to be a major culprit to the development and the ongoing pathology of Crohn's disease. High omega fats and seed oils. These are highly inflammatory, and the body does not do well with them. So we really need to decrease all of those inflammatory oils and processed oils and hydrogenated oils. Refined and processed foods. Guys, you've probably heard this so many times, but are you doing it? Like, are you really doing it? Are you living a gut-friendly lifestyle? You need to ask yourself this question. You need to be honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. Are you doing these things? High sugar, you got to get rid of them. High stress, there is a huge psychological component to many of the conditions of the digestive tract, okay? And for individuals with Crohn's disease, for example, are they holding on to something? Like, are they not letting go? Are they holding grudges? Because a lot of times when people are holding grudges and they're not letting go of something, their body just starts to eat away because they're holding on so much. They're not able to let go of the past, for example. You might think that this is kind of like, wow, that's a wide connection, but they are connected. So there's a huge psychological component that we need to account for, and ultimately that's stress and how much stress we are having and how you can respond to stress. Free radicals. Are we being exposed to pathogens and toxins and so forth? Because that can have a major impact on our body and our immune system. Allergens, obviously, intestinal permeability, leaky gut. If you've got leaky gut, you definitely have Crohn's, or vice versa. If you've got Crohn's, you definitely have leaky gut. So pretty much every single condition that a human can have is a final expression of leaky gut. If you've got leaky gut, the body will express all different kinds of sicknesses depending on your weakest link in your genetic chain. It does not mean that you are predisposed to a certain condition because of your genetics. It means that your environment and the cells that are being exposed to whatever different types of allergens or foods or toxins, that will then trigger your genetics to express themselves or not. That's called epigenetics. Behavioral, again, causes, behavioral, trauma, holding back. Huge psychological component to this. And finally, alcohol, drugs, smoking, prescription drugs, entertainment drugs, you name it. All of these things really don't belong. And that's why I love sobriety so much. That's why I love being sober, because we really don't need any of these things. Sure, moderation, okay, that's fine. But in excess, not necessary. So if you stuck around with me this long, thank you so much. If you're finding this valuable, please hit a like, hit a subscribe, leave a comment below, share this with a friend, and then let's talk about treatment. So this is my treatment. This is what I would do if you and I were working together, or if I'm gonna recommend this to anyone. First and foremost, you've got to detox. You've got to cleanse your body. You have to allow your body to eliminate all of the things that don't belong, the things that are stressing the immune system. Because when we detox, when we allow our body to clean up a lot of the things, again, that don't belong, then the immune system is rested and it can start to heal other body tissues. If you are in a flare-up, I would not recommend these two suggestions. If you're in somewhat of a remission state, then maybe I would. Colon hydrotherapy session and maybe coffee enemas. Who would have thought that putting water up your butt can be so cleaning and cleansing and detoxifying? Well, it's true. So that's in brackets. Some say yes, some say no. Number 2, rest and repair. The cells that line the gut, the cells that line the intestines are some of the fastest regenerating cells in the body. You literally have a new GI tract every 3 to 7 days. So with that understanding, if you can allow the cells that line your gut to replace themselves in an environment free from anything, free from inflammation, really, then they will become more integral, they'll become stronger, they'll become more intact, they'll be less inflamed, okay? Really important. Number 3, following that, you need to reintroduce strategic foods. So this whole segment, part 1 and 2, you're not eating any food. You're fasting. You're letting your body, you're letting the whole digestive tract just rest and repair and eliminate and clear out all of the unwanted debris. And then once you've done that, strategically reintroduce strategic foods, all while re-inoculating the gut. You need to support your gut, your microbiome. You need to introduce good bacteria, good healthy probiotics, prebiotic foods, foods that will feed the healthy bugs and starve off the bad bugs. Now, I didn't even mention this, but we also need to consider when people have Crohn's disease, possible candida, possible parasites, right? Those are things, pathogens that don't belong in the gut, and they just cause havoc in the gut. And then finally, once you've done all of this, you just turn it into a lifestyle. You retain and maintain it. Don't go back the old way, because you're going to get this again. Once you've done this, you're a whole new body. And then you just maintain that in a nice, healthy GFL, gut-friendly lifestyle. If you like this, I really appreciate it. Here's what I want to do. I want to invite you to a free training, a GFL training. If you want to see hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of individuals and students, because I call them students, individuals that I've worked with I want you to register for my free webinar. It's called GFL. I'll put the link down in the description. And also, if you want to work with me and you really want to, like you're committed, you're firm with this, then I invite you to take a look at my Bootcamp. I'll put the link there. It's got 5 videos, instructional videos on what it would look like if you and I were to work together, and it breaks down everything. So I invite you to take a look at those links, and also again, hit a like, hit a subscribe. Thank you very much for your support. Until next time, Gut Whisperer out.